Welcome to the training session on how to conduct scoring for the Open Government Awards 2015. My name is Waneema Hassan, and on behalf of OGP, we are honored that you have volunteered to be a judge and will be reviewing some of the applications we have received from 40 OGP governments. This video gives you an overview of the theme for this year's awards, the scoring process, and how you can use the website interface to access and score the applications that will be assigned to you. So to start, the theme for this year's awards is improving public services through open government. OGP is asking countries to showcase how open government initiatives have resulted in concrete improvements in the delivery of public services. For example, economic welfare programs, healthcare, education, water, roads, public safety, and so on. We selected this theme because public services are the most common interface between citizens and the government, and governments should ensure transparency, accountability, and responsiveness in their design and delivery. Good quality and effective public services respond to the needs of people, including vulnerable groups, and form the foundation of inclusive development. So who participates? A government agency in each OGP participating country is responsible for submitting the country's application. The government is required to consult with civil society to select the most compelling initiative to be submitted as the country's entry for the 2015 awards. Governments are also strongly encouraged to submit a joint application with one or more civil society partners, or submit initiatives that were led by subnational governments. All of these elements are important to know because you will see them reflected in the application template. The application is divided into three parts. Part 1 is details about the team which is applying. Part 2 is on the initiative, and Part 3 is on the pitch. In Part 1, there are two things that you would need to note which are directly taken into account when you are scoring. First, the national governments have to explain whether and how they consulted with civil society in choosing the initiative to put forward for the awards. This is mandatory. Second, there are a few ways to apply. Either national governments can apply themselves, or they can jointly apply with an organization, or the national government can submit initiatives led by subnational governments. None of these are mandatory, and you might see any one of these scenarios in the applications that you're reviewing. Part 2, which is the initiative, is the most substantive part of the application, where we ask the applicants to give details about what problem they intended to solve, how they designed the program, what were the results, and how sustainable the program will be in the future. For example, in the initiative design, countries should articulate why the initiative used open government approaches and whether or not it targeted marginalized or disadvantaged groups. On initiative outcomes, countries should explain whether they achieved one or more of the results that are listed in the bullets. While many initiatives will be able to show these results in the bullets, a few may be able to demonstrate even larger scale impact by proving that the initiative increased access to public services or improved the quality and efficiency of services. As a judge, it will be up to you to decide whether the initiative has been able to show concrete results based on the country context and challenges. The last question in this section is on validation of claims. This is the part where we ask governments to upload letters from civil society organizations which state that the answers presented here are true and accurate. Basically, this is a way for the judges to triangulate some of the facts from an organization that is outside government. The last part of the application is the pitch. This is the part where applicants will make their best case to the judges as to why their initiative is worthy and deserves to win. And since they are not going to interact with you physically, they are also encouraged to upload a short video. If they don't upload a short video, they instead might upload a maximum of 3 pages of additional documents to help you understand the merits of the initiative better. That's the application, and now let's move on to the scoring rubric to show you how we try to capture each of these parts of the application into the scoring process. There are 5 traits in the scoring rubric: credibility of partnerships, strength and innovation in open government approaches, evidence of results, sustainability, and special recognition. The first 4 traits are equally weighted. The last trait is a special category, which we will explain in a moment. But before we explain how the scoring process works, please remember that you will be reviewing initiatives from a diversity of developed and developing countries. Applicants have been asked to elaborate on the unique challenges and context in which their initiative takes place, and we hope that that will help you to make a fair assessment of the merits of the initiative. So this is how the scoring works. Each trait has a question that acts as a prompt. For example, under credibility of partnerships, the prompt is, did the applicant provide sufficient evidence of partnering with other non-government organizations in either nominating, validating, and/or jointly implementing the initiative? So this question is asking you to look at 3 things in the application. Part A, where the national government has to show how they consulted with organizations in nominating an initiative, which is, remember, mandatory, and also whether they're going to put in a joint application with civil society or submit an initiative that was led by subnational governments, which is strongly encouraged. You have to look at Part B as well, where they have to upload letters of validation, which is again mandatory. Then you can look at the specific options that will help you provide a score. For example, showed no consultation in nominating an initiative, may have been jointly implemented, but shows very weak validation of claims. And you have 4 more prompts like these to choose from in providing your score. Of course, many times you may feel that things don't fit neatly into any one of these categories, and if that's the case, just write your comments on the box below to explain your score. You can follow this process for each of the following 4 traits. Let's look at the last trait on special recognition, which is a yes or no question. If you recall, this year's theme is also about encouraging countries to showcase whether their initiative has reached marginalized or disadvantaged groups. If you are judging an initiative which has clearly been able to demonstrate this, then you can answer with a yes. Remember that this is a special recognition category and is not part of the overall score. The application deadline is June 15th. Once we receive all the applications, we will do an administrative review and distribute the applications to each judge by the end of June. From then, you will have 2 weeks. We have received around 40 registrations, and many of them, or the majority of them, will end up submitting an application, which means that each of you should be reviewing not more than 7 to 8 applications. If you have any questions on the scoring process, please email me at munima.hassan@opengovpartnership.org for any questions.
Once you log in with the username and password you were provided, you will be brought to the Judging History page. The Judging History page provides you with the name of the person responsible for the submission, the start date of judging, the final score of your judging for that submission, whether or not the rubric is finished, a closed date when you finished and finalized your score, and a printer icon to view and print each submission. To begin scoring a submission, click Review in the left column. Once the page loads, click the Submission box to expand and view the entire submission. Once you have reviewed the submission, you can begin scoring. If it's open, click the top of the submission box again to collapse it and move to Judging Criteria number 1 on the page. Read the instructions in the black box to understand how to score that section. Then click on the rating bar bubble and drag it to the appropriate score based on how well the submission applies to the text above the scoring range. In the text box at the bottom of the page, explain your score and provide feedback to the participant with a minimum of 50 characters. A score and feedback are required for each scoring section in order to finish scoring. When you are done with Judging Criteria number 1, Click Save, and then Next. This will bring you to the next judging criterion. Follow the same procedure with the following judging sections. You can return to the judging history page at any time by clicking Judging Overview. When you return to the submission, the next unsaved judging criterion will load. When you have scored all 4 criterion, you will see the score you provided for the submission, a yes in the rubric Finished column, and a Close Now button in the Closed Date column. Click the score or the yes or no in the rubric Finished column at any time to see the scores and comments you have provided for each judging criterion. Before you click the Close Now button, you may want to wait until all your assigned submissions are scored, in case you want to edit your scores or comments later. Once you click Close Now, your scores will be finalized and you won't be able to change them.